It's time to double throw down this front end.
Welcome back to this episode of Driving Line Builds. Today we finally get to start assembling the front end of this Jeep, installing our front Evo manufacturing long arm kit, double throwdown suspension, and our custom Synergy steering. So with that, let's get building. Today is the day. I am super excited. We get to finally start putting brackets back on the Jeep. We're gonna start off with installing the new transmission Crossmember, and then we're gonna move on to installing the new long arm brackets on the frame. From there, we're gonna start installing the towers for the triple bypass and the coilovers. Once all the frame side brackets are done, we're gonna start mocking up all of the brackets on the axle side. So let's get working. Might be a good time to get the new long arm brackets, lock them up, then we can mark up everything for what needs to get shaped down while everything's out of the way. Yeah, go ahead and get a pin. Oh man.
The pin fairy.
Oh, what needs to be sanded down.
Yes, sir. That one's good.
There's this tab right here, and typically this long arm installs where it does bolt and welds up to the OEM lower control arm bracket here. For our purposes, we're gonna go ahead and cut this off. We're gonna modify a bracket to come over and tie this into the frame, clean it up and get it nice and flush.
Sorry, just kidding.
Oh, that's cool. So being that my original one was bent up so bad, nothing wants to line up anymore, so we're gonna have to finagle it.
Alright, so here we just mocked up our bracket. We have our bolts through it. They're all loosely mounted for now. We'll go ahead and grab the other one for the passenger side, and then we'll get everything tightened down and get these brackets all tightened and welded up. And since we're changing the front up here and we're not going to be bolting this in right now, I had concerns about bolting this up tight, so we'll just do it. Get a few threads on this nut and then let it go so it can relax back over towards the frame.
Those brackets indexed yet? Ready to fire up the old red dragon and slay some beads. He's rolling now. But hopefully I'm still welded on the bracket. That was a Ray Charles weld.
So unfortunately, mistakes were made, and that was totally my fault. I got a little ahead of myself. We indexed the brackets on the transmission Crossmember and just went for it, and totally my fault. We typically will measure the front end of the bracket to make sure both sides are matching and where they're supposed to be. And of course, we usually have the OEM bracket on the frame to index that side. We didn't have that, totally like spaced it out, so we welded it on. And unfortunately, the passenger side was off about a good inch lower on the front end of the bracket. So I spent a good 2 hours cutting all the welds, but we got those all cut off, got the bracket removed, cleaned it up, and got it remounted on the frame. So everything is good now. Can't even tell it happened, but it is what it is. It's part of fabrication, it's part of putting things together, and it was an honest mistake. We're gonna re-weld this bracket back up and get things moving forward again.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna make a bracket that actually follows the frame rail here, and it's actually gonna come back over and tie into this bracket. We'll be able to weld it here and then also weld down the frame as well. That's what we're gonna do today. So easy thing to do is just find an old soda box and cut it up, and you can use it as a template. That's what we're doing. So PD, passenger driver. Let me get my safety squint on. Smells like progress in here. John just told me that my grinder is not trail legal because I don't have a spark arrestor on it. He was getting showered over there while he was minding his own business.
Just trying to get my work done.
We're bead rolling.
We're bead rolling?
Yeah.
Bead?
Bead.
Bead rolling.
Beam?
Rolling.
B.
B? So now we want this plate that we just mocked up to actually bend and take the same contour as the actual chassis. So we're gonna come back here and we're gonna mark where we actually have to make our bend. I would say that fits pretty darn good. You don't always have to have fancy tools to actually make something work. You can utilize a lot of other tools to get the job done. That'll do. Bent it too much this time. Now we're back in action.
Start mocking these up. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, but we're already pretty much clear. We're gonna turn the steering to make sure the steering linkage is not gonna hit the back side of this bracket. So right now we're just getting the bracket set, everything tacked up, ready to go, and then we'll do the final burn-in. We're almost there, and then we'll move on to the passenger side.
When you're running a little hotter, thicker beads and running a MIG welder that's not water cooled, you'll take a little bit extra time and you'll actually let the welder cool off because it does have a cycle. The duration is maybe 10-12 minutes of good welding. With this, I'm actually just going to stop for a few minutes and then let it cool off and then go back again. There.
Finally have these shock towers installed, and these are the double throwdown brackets from Evo Manufacturing. We're gonna let these cool off for right now. We're gonna get everything painted up with some Steelite, get it prepped. Then it's time to start hanging the coilovers and the triple bypass shock. Once those are hanging and ready to go, it's time to slide that front XT60 axle under the Jeep and start mocking up the lower brackets.
Put the acetone away from your welding station. It's not 4th of July yet. We don't need any explosions or over-the-top excitement yet.
We're gonna tack up these lower axle side brackets. So that way, when we do have the shocks hanging, we can use these to kind of index the shocks apart from each other. And that way, these are kind of ready to orient themselves onto the axle when we cycle it. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. Now I should note that we did upgrade to a 3.0 triple bypass. This kit typically comes standard with a 2.5 triple bypass. So this is an upgrade, but this kit is designed to go fast in the desert and really take a beating. So that's why we decided to go with it for the front suspension. So before we hang the axle in the Jeep, we're gonna go ahead and drill out the knuckles to prep for the new steering. Easier to drill this out now with the axle on the stands. So we're gonna have to drill these out through and through. So we're gonna have to get rid of the taper, and we're gonna be drilling those out to a 3/4 inch hole.
Got you where I want you now. Nothing's gonna save you from the fall. Nothing's gonna save you from the fall.
we got the axle rolled under the front end of this thing and we have it loosely mocked up. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure left and right, make sure the axle's centered under the vehicle where it needs to be, and then we're gonna set our caster. Once the caster's set, we're gonna orient the shock mounts on the axle tube where they need to go, and then we're gonna start cycling that and compress it and get it where it needs to be and tack those up in place. And then we're gonna move on to the steering. I'm curious to fully compress it to see how this is what that's gonna do. Pretty close to fully compressing the shocks though before that hits. Once we get the shock bracket set, that's when we're gonna start setting up the track bar bracket and the track bar. Because we're gonna start cycling everything, make sure the track bar to the diff. This is where the fine tuning and cycling everything is really important. Especially on the front end, there's a lot of moving parts. This is kind of the tedious part of setting up a front end. I got some steering.
Here we go.
All right. Before we open this box up and see what Synergy sent us, they were nice enough to come down to the shop and do a whole bunch of custom measuring with 3D scanning of the axle and the Jeep to make this custom steering. So before we open this box, check it out.
Hey, I'm Matt with Synergy, and today I'm here at Disciple Off-Road with Jeremy, and he's got this brand new Dynatrac 60. What we need to do is make a steering set for this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scan the axle from one side to the other, and then scan his Jeep, and put those two together. With all that information, we'll try and make a tie rod that's nice and high so it doesn't have to worry about clearance issues, and a drag link that's gonna work with this new axle all the way over to the fitment arm.
It's super cool to see the technology that these guys have now to be able to scan products like this and kind of make new things, really get precise measurements and create new products. Really excited to get this on the Jeep, and I think it's gonna work out really well.
Hey, Matt with Synergy Manufacturing, and I am working on Jeremy's new rig and steering system. Today, we got to build up a new track bar. Done a bunch of computer work. I made a little bit of a drawing, and we're going to use our production eagle bender, which is a CNC 2 bender, to turn this straight bar into this noodle. So I've put all of my data into the computer. Really simple. You just tell it how to move and where to bend and everything like that. All you got to do is load the bar into the machine, and it'll take care of the rest for you. There it is, one straight bar to one bent bar. A whole bunch of bars ready to go behind me. They come over to this machine and we're ready to make a ton of bars really easy.
All right. There we go.
Get down to business. I'm here to put in work. That tunnel vision.
Right now, up shaft, so.
The steering is made out of a 1.5 inch 4130 heat treated chromoly. This also features Synergy's double adjusters, massive 1-inch bore heims that'll use 3/4 misalignment spacers. So what we're doing is we're adjusting the control arms about 1 inch off from where we had them. So after installing all the steering to kind of mock everything up, see where everything was sitting at full lock left and right, we do need to move the axle forward about 1 inch. As you can see, things get pretty tight and the tie rod was sitting underneath the track bar bracket. Obviously that's an issue with up travel. So we're trying to get this to where the tie rod will cycle and move basically between the pitman arm and the track bar bracket right here in this little groove. Another thing we're working with, this was a track bar bracket that Synergy made us just to kind of mock things up a little bit, but at full lock the tie rod does hit the bar here. It gets really tight. We're not even turning it. What we are going to do is we're going to cut this one down, modify it just to kind of get an idea of what our new one should look like. But ideally, give you an idea, the new track bar is obviously be lower than this, and we want it to have the same height as the drag link. We are going to take this bracket, cut it down, but end up sitting at about an angle like this. Now that we have an idea of where our axle is going to be forward and back, we're going to mark on the frame where we need to cut, and we are going to notch the frame out here, and then of course reinforce it. So this is going to allow us to get more up travel on full stuff of the suspension.
Loose tooth.
We are going to install the brand new anti-rock sway bar kit. So measure for the bottom of the frame, then up, so we have enough. Come up at an angle, come across, and hopefully down right here.
So we're leveling off the front here so we can see where it's actually going to travel and see where we're going to clear instead of just guessing. And we'll actually use this here and we'll know exactly where this is going to index once it's fully stuffed. So we'll bring this up here, cement there, there. Today's tabs are sponsored by Taco Bell. Take our Taco Bell template to the other side, get it mocked up, cut it, cycle it, deeper there. Interior and exterior piece.
So instead of finishing up the notch on the frame, we decided to go ahead and move to the knuckle and finish up our custom double shear steering. We're gonna notch a little bit of the bottom knuckle, make some custom plates for our double shear bolt. So we got this marked right here, and this is gonna be our spacer that's gonna slide right down inside this knuckle. And it's gonna create a new through hole and not use the original one, and create a new hole for the bolt here. And then we're gonna plate it all in with something like this. So. You don't have the option to have a bolt-on upper arm, so they're pretty much set where they're at. And of course, the top arm is offset from the bottom hole, so you can't just run a bolt straight through. So we are just creating our new hole, and we're gonna make our brackets now. They're gonna go on top and bottom, and plate it all in, weld it all together, have a through bolt. Should hold up really well.
Mucho stronger.
We're gonna start making the bracket to hold the other end of PSC ramp. No binding here. Binding, nothing's hitting. We are good. So what we'll do now is we'll make another one of these brackets, replicate it, do it on the top, so it'll be a double shear, and then we'll plate the back side of this as well to tie it all in together. We're gonna start working on our front sway bar links. Sway bars usually mount to the front side of the axle, and with our setup, things get really tight.
Like a Twiga.
By that I mean we are fitting the link right between the coilover and the track bar bracket, and it sits just behind and really close to our high steer. After thinking about it a little bit, looking at it, it did dawn on us that we do have a rock jock rear anti-rock kit as well, which does have arms that are straight and much longer. And that started to make us think that, hey, maybe we can actually route the sway bar link on the back side of the axle, and that the straight arm will actually clear and sit right behind the suspension. We're gonna go ahead and take this off now and see if that works. So let's see if this is gonna work. So this would sit about here at ride height, I think. Let's clear this. This is about the degree we'd want. So I think if we use this hole, we might be okay. It's gonna get kind of close to this, but other than that, I think that's gonna be our best option, Chad. And we have plenty of cycle up. I mean, we shouldn't go any higher than that. Then of course going fully down should be totally fine. I think it's gonna work. So of course this arm is for the rear, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't use it for the front. That's kind of the fun part about making custom suspension and getting creative with this. You gotta think out of the box, come up with new ideas and see what works. As long as it's functional and it does its job still, it really doesn't matter. We're gonna go ahead and give this a shot and see how it works. As we're cycling this, the track bar gets really close to that upper control arm bracket. So we're just gonna clearance it a little bit more. We still have plenty of material to take off and it'll be still plenty strong. What we're gonna do next is start building a skid plate for our front PSC ram assist.
Pretty close.
We finally have the PSC ram assist skid built, tacked up, ready to go. I'm really excited about it. Time to cycle this thing one more time just to make sure everything's good to go before we do the final welding, because once the thing's welded up, I don't want to cut anything off. And once we know we're good there, it's time to finally pull this front axle out so Chad can work his magic.
Backs against the wall. I know that I'm the only one who'd ever save me, and I could never
Before you weld, you always want to make sure you put your welding gloves and safety gear on. It's got my helmet on, so I just need to put my gloves on and get to go. That's a fun angle.
This lens is toast.
Should have put an anti-spatter on the lens, huh?
This is my time. This is my time. Oh, this is my time. This is my time.
That's rad. So we did have to notch the frame on this side. We do have a lot of steering that comes up. Let me clean these corners up and then we'll get it tacked into place. I'll show you what the notch is actually going to look like. Get it tacked here right before our step down where the two layers are. Kind of get this nice and tight so when I pinch this side in, it doesn't actually bow the center portion of the plate out. So I'll get another one here on both sides and then I'll come in and finish off front.
Finally have the front axle in and have all of the steering and suspension done. Feels great to finally be at this point and really kind of see everything coming together. This was certainly a team effort. I'm just really happy with how it came out. A huge thank you again to our friends at Synergy Manufacturing for taking the time to come down here and helping us design this new steering. What do you think about the new axle?
Cool. The steering is really cool. Can't wait to go off-roading with this. Thank you, Evo and Synergy.
Thank you for watching another episode of Driving Line Builds. Stay tuned for episode 4 as we begin cutting up our tub, installing our new Evo manufacturing rear suspension. And if you haven't guessed it yet, some go fast trailing arms. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Driving Line's channel, and hit that notification button. Until then, keep on building, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching Driving Line. If you guys like this video, consider subscribing to our channel so you'll never miss any of the content we create here. Whether you're into trucks, Jeeps, imports, domestic vehicles, or anything in between, we are here to fuel your passion. So hit that subscribe button and we'll see you guys next time.